Hi, I'm Sarah Thorne, the Principal Advisor for Public Transport Infrastructure at Christchurch City Council. Today I will delve into the often overlooked world of buses and explore how we can enhance the experience of catching the bus for everyone. So how are we going to achieve this goal? We will focus on three key strategies: frequency is freedom, making the bus go faster, and enhancing the overall experience. Buses might not possess the high-tech allure of hyperloops or driverless cars, but as our only public transport mode in Christchurch, besides our one ferry service, they are incredibly important. Improving the experience of catching the bus within the coming years is going to be key to making Christchurch more sustainable, more livable, and a more affordable city. So tap on, grab a seat, and join me as we navigate through the challenges of creating an inclusive and safe public transport system in Christchurch. So let me set the scene. Christchurch City Council is responsible for public transport infrastructure, which includes the bus lounges, bus priority lanes, bus stops, the electronic screens at bus stops that tell you when the next bus is coming, and our traffic signals that will very soon be able to detect an approaching bus and give it a green light if it is running late. Environment Canterbury are responsible for everything else. They procure the buses, decide how much people will pay and by what means, and decide where the buses will go and how frequent they run. We have 28 bus services operated by over 250 buses and one ferry. These buses make almost 60,000 trips per year and travel over 15.5 million kilometres per year. To put that in perspective, that means Christchurch's buses collectively make 40 round trips to the moon each year. So who's catching the bus? According to our recent data, 42% of our riders have an annual income less than $40,000 per year, while 7% of our riders make more than $80,000. When we compare this to the average household income of $62,300, we can clearly see a noticeable skew towards lower income earners amongst our bus riders. There's an increasing proportion of female riders on Christchurch's buses, and the proportion of elderly riders is also increasing. So how many people are catching the bus? There are around 14 million trips taken by each year in Greater Christchurch. Compared to Auckland and Greater Wellington, patronage per capita in Christchurch is relatively low. On average, each Canterburyan will make 26.5 trips per year on public transport, compared to 82 trips per year made by a Wellingtonian. We used to have similar ridership levels to Auckland on a per capita basis, but then the Christchurch earthquakes hit and our paths diverged. You can see this in the red line representing Christchurch and the blue line for Auckland. The earthquake altered our land use, disrupted our transport network and travel patterns, and ultimately resulted in more people choosing to drive their cars. Whilst in Auckland, public transport use rose due to continued population growth and increased investment in public transport. Investment in public transport has also been more significant in Auckland and Wellington, and I can illustrate this by going to the Wakakatahi's Funding and Transport Dashboard, which shows over the last 10 years, funding in Christchurch has been $560 million, whilst in Wellington it's been $1.68 billion and Auckland $5.63 billion. To put that in perspective, on a per capita basis, that's $89 per person per year in Christchurch, compared to $318 and $314 in Auckland. Getting more people to catch the bus is a joint effort by Wakakatahi, Environment Canterbury, Waimakariri District Council, Christchurch City Council and Selwyn District Council. We all work together to improve our bus network. To help us make informed decisions, we rely on the advice of our Public Transport Stakeholder Reference Group and our Accessibility Reference Group. These groups are run by ECAN and meet every few months to talk about public transport related issues. Over the coming years, we need to increase our expenditure to tackle the 3 key aspects of creating an attractive bus network. These aspects are called frequency as freedom, make the bus go faster, and improve the overall experience. So the first strategy, frequency as freedom. So I've been in Sydney for the past 3 weeks, trading in the cold winter in Christchurch for much nicer, warmer weather in Sydney. I've been living in Longueville, which has a bus route that runs every hour, and I wanted to highlight just how frustrating it is to rely on an infrequent bus service. So I'd like everyone to please picture your car or bike locked securely away in your garage, and I have complete control over your garage door. In this scenario, I'm going to open your garage door every hour, giving you 30 seconds to jump in your car or bike, start your engine and drive off. How do you feel about this? Imagine if I was a little unreliable and could open your garage door 10 minutes late or 5 minutes early. Do you feel the mounting pressure of coordinating your day around this rigid schedule and the feeling of your freedom being restricted? These emotions represent what many bus passengers experience when they bound to infrequent bus services. And these feelings only go away when you have a service that runs every 10 to 15 minutes. Frequency is also really important for transferring between buses, as you don't want to land behind another locked garage door, feeling anxious that you're up for another long wait. So in Christchurch, to get more people to catch the bus, we have to increase our bus frequencies. To do this, we need to purchase more buses and employ more drivers, which all comes at a cost. The reality is our frequency in Christchurch is anywhere between 10 and half-hourly services, with some infrequent services running on the outskirts of Christchurch. Environment Canterbury are working hard to improve the frequency of many services across their network, and I encourage all of you to support them in this endeavour, as it is the most important thing we can do to encourage people to catch the bus. The next strategy is make the bus go faster. Now here at Christchurch City Council, we're generally not in the business of making things go fast. We have a focus on making the streets safer by slowing down traffic through many programs such as Safe Speed Neighbourhoods. But for buses, it's different. We want to free them from traffic so that they can compete with the car. This is currently a bit of a problem in Christchurch, where it often takes twice as long to get the bus compared to driving. So there are a number of things we can do to help the bus along. There are little things like placing bus stops after traffic lights. If we place a bus stop before a traffic light, it increases the likelihood that the bus will get stuck behind a red light. We can spread out our bus stops so that they are around 400 metres apart. This balances the need for having bus stops close to where people live and not making the bus stop too often. And we can build more bus lanes to ensure that the bus does not get stuck in traffic. We have approximately 22 kilometres of bus lanes in Christchurch, and we have plans to further expand these dedicated lanes in the future. We can upgrade our intersections to allow buses to jump the queue, and we can make our traffic signals smarter so that they can turn green if a bus is running late. Over the coming years, Christchurch City Council will work hard at all these things to make the bus go faster. And finally, the overall experience really matters. You can provide someone with a fast, reliable and frequent service, but when they get off the bus and they have no footpath and they have to cross a dangerous road with poor lighting, they are not going to catch the bus. If they arrive at a bus stop in winter with no shelter and they have to wear a high-vis jacket and rely on their phone's flashlight to hail the bus, they are not going to get the bus. The good news is that upgrading our bus stops are relatively cheap and yield high dividends. Great bus stops can improve the amount of people catching the bus. Currently, Christchurch City Council operates around 1,790 bus stops. Among these, we have 224 advertising shelters and 312 council-owned shelters. However, there are still over 1,000 bus stops without shelters, leaving many people exposed to the elements when waiting for the bus. Over the coming years, Christchurch City Council have plans to improve the waiting experience for passengers. We will focus on increasing the number of shelters on our streets, improving line marking to allow buses to pull up close and parallel to the curb, enhancing our lighting conditions, installing more screens to display real-time bus information, and we will make walking to and from the bus stop easier and safer. By prioritising these enhancements, we aim to transform the bus stop experience, ensuring that every passenger feels comfortable, safe and well informed throughout their journey, as the overall experience really matters. And finally, just a note on climate change. Transportation's significant role in greenhouse gas emissions cannot be overlooked, especially in Christchurch, where it makes up 54% of our total emissions. To address this, we need to encourage people to catch the bus instead of driving their cars. Achieving this shift requires us all to work together to improve our bus frequency, make the bus go faster, and improve the overall experience of catching the bus. Thank you for joining me on this journey. You can now tap off with a little extra knowledge of Christchurch's humble bus. Thank you.